Hi there. I'm Jean Ginsberg with GenBall.net, and I have Stephen Rosenberg with me. And today we have a very special guest, Mary Shores, and we're really excited to hear about Mary's story and Mary's entrepreneurial journey. So, Mary, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely, Jean. So, my name is Mary Shores, and I am an up-and-coming Hay House author, as well as a CEO of a very unique collection agency that I started in 1998. I'm also a public speaker that tours around talking about various different topics, and one of the most popular ones is my customer service system called Words That Work.
And that's what we're going to talk about today, which is extremely exciting because Words That Work is one of the most unique systems I've ever encountered, especially with a collection agency, which most people think of as a very negative situation. And what I think Mary has done differently than everybody else in the industry is reverse engineer that to actually make it positive to help people. And so, kind of give us a little bit of background of how you came up with Words That Work and what it's all about and what the audience can take away value from.
I came up with Words That Work about 12 years ago because there was some shifting going on in my industry, and I knew that I wanted to make a change. Also, I was going on my own path and my own personal development journey, so I needed my career to match up with my personal life. And one of the things that struck me about debt collections in general is how much of a psychological burden it is to have a debt. And what I mean by that is if you owe someone money, you're not very likely to go after your dreams because it's keeping you down, it's weighing you down. You're not likely to apply for a home loan. You're not likely to apply for a job. You're not even as likely to ask someone out on a date that you may be interested in. And not only is it a burden on the person who owes money, but if anyone has ever owed you money, then you know the feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach when you have to call someone and ask them for money. So I started developing this program in 2005 after some soul searching of how could I do this better. And I literally got to a point that I was sitting at my desk and I looked at the phone and I just said, I want the next person who calls to be happier at the end of the call than they were at the beginning of the call. And that question was the beginning of what changed everything.
Absolutely. And from that, you've been able to create an entire workbook series. What else has been created around Words At Work?
We have a training that we teach that can be 2 hours, 4 hours, or 8-hour trainings. I'm also developing a training series specific to the collection industry because my mission has become not only to change my office and change offices that I work with. I do a lot of corporate trainings, but to change the entire collections industry.
Which I think she's very much on the path to doing so. And she actually came in and did it for Green Purpose one time as an experiment and as a favor, but it definitely changed my outlook on the entire situation. I think what would be really valuable for the audience is to maybe go through an example of a situation that wouldn't work and then a situation where we're applying Words At Work.
So what I'd like to start with, if it's okay, is just saying the 3 rules and the 3 steps of Words That Work. So we need to know what the 3 rules are. The 3 rules of Words That Work are, 1, do you remember?
No.
You don't?
Of course.
Okay, it is stop saying negative words. So we have a do not say list.
Yeah, and there's like 10 of them.
So, what are some of those words?
We have a do not say list. It is no, not, can't, won't, however, and unfortunately. And many people don't believe me, Jean, that however and unfortunately are negative words.
I didn't at first either.
No, he really didn't. And the thing is that we believe that those are empathetic words, and in certain situations they may be. The problem in customer service situations is that they always precede bad news. So if you think about it and you call, say, the cable company, or you call about your healthcare bill, if someone says unfortunately, they're not about to tell you good news. So I have you may do the demonstration? So my demonstration of this is to say to Stephen, hey Stephen, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, I'm really excited that you asked me to be on the show today. I've been looking forward to it all week, and I know you're a big fan of Words That Work. It's something I've always appreciated. Unfortunately, so we can kind of feel that there's a tense thing going on there. The second rule to words that work is that you must replace negative words with words that work. These are words like, what I can do for you is, I am confident, you'll be more than glad to know, you'll be happy to hear, I've got great news. So replacing the negative words with words that work. If you've heard that thing going around social media lately where people are replacing I'm sorry with thank you, it's sort of that same sort of thing. That's very easy to replace the words you were going to say with the words that work. And the third rule is that you always say what you can do instead of what you can't do. You know, the number one mistake that I see customer service reps make is they're always talking about what they cannot do for you. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Shores, we can't do that because of our policy
Unfortunately,
is this.
I'm sorry,
Unfortunately,
we can't. Yeah.
In my presentation now, we have actually an entire series of different Facebook posts we have, because studies were showing that people were likely to tell 16 other people about a negative customer service experience and only tell 9 people if they had a positive customer service experience. And I actually think these numbers are super outdated, because if someone posted on Facebook, it's hard to tell how many people that's actually reaching. And so that's the 3 rules of words that work. And then the next thing I like to talk about is the 3 steps. Mm-hmm. Did you want to hear the 3 steps?
I would love to.
Okay. So the 3 steps to words that work are: step 1, you must validate what the customer says. So one of the stories would be, if you've ever worked in customer service, a call center, if you've ever been an owner of a business, then you know you have to be on the phone with clients. And sometimes they really go into these long stories. And if you don't validate what they say, then what's going to happen is they'll start over from the beginning.
Yeah, they'll just keep repeating.
And Steven's used my system, so he knows that what this is saying is true. So it's very important that you let your customer know, or your client know, that you understand how they feel. Now, this is not in any way stating that you agree with them.
Right.
It's just consciously acknowledging that you've heard them.
Right.
Because if people don't feel heard, they're likely to interrupt you, they're likely to have their fight or flight system triggered, and really just it's going downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
So words like that are, I can see why you would feel this way, I can understand how frustrated you are, and you can even validate
But the good news is that...
that's the next step.
Oh, okay.
Planting seeds of happiness. That's his favorite part, I think.
It's work, though. It's crazy.
So you can also validate when your client has told you something good. So you really want to use the validation step, whether they've told you good news or bad news, or they have a complaint. That is non-negotiable. You have to tell them the validation. So if you need to validate a positive statement, you just say, I'm so glad you shared that with me, or that's so exciting, or I'm so happy for you. And then, okay, ready for the second step? The second step is planting seeds of happiness. So planting seeds of happiness is, we're using this step because we want to plant unconscious seeds of happiness into your client's mind. When we use negative words, we're actually reinforcing a negative outcome. When we use positive words, we're reinforcing a positive outcome. And by the way, I developed this system after more than 15 years of a study in neurology. So all of my steps and my rules are based on what I've learned and understood about the human nervous system.
That's very
So
interesting.
step 2.
Step 3.
Thank you. Step 3? All right, step 3 is you always say what you can do instead of what you can't do. So again, many times in customer service, I hear people tell me what they cannot do for me. I'm sorry, Mary Shores, we can't do that because our policy is. Well, instead of saying what you can do. So I'll give you a very easy example. If I call the car dealership and I need an oil change, they might say, I'm sorry, we don't have an appointment open until Tuesday, versus saying, I've got great news, we can get you in on Tuesday.
Yeah, it just totally flips everything around.
think-
That's very cool.
Right?
For sure.
It is. Thank you so much.
And we could go on and on about this, but we wanted to at least give you guys a little bit of exposure to words that work.
Yeah, and then
Make sure you guys
I was going to say, I have a question
Go
for
ahead.
Mary. So, we have an entrepreneurial audience who listen and who watch your videos. Like, how can this be applied for entrepreneurs?
Oh, I believe every entrepreneur should use this system because we live in such a competitive world today, and the way you treat your clients or your customers is going to determine the outcome of so many situations. I'm so glad you asked me that because in my book, Conscious Communications, I have an entire chapter called To Cleanse or Clog? That is the question. And what that means to me is that every time, everywhere that you're interacting with a client, you are either cleansing that or clogging it. What I mean is, if you use words that work, you're really guaranteed to build rapport with your clients and to make a connection, because everything in life is either a connection or a disconnection. If you are using negative words, saying no, not, can't, won't, however, and unfortunately, and you're planting unconscious negative seeds in your client's mind, believe me, they remember that, and then when someone else approaches them for their business, they're going to be open to it. But if you have a rock solid relationship with your clients, then you've got a true connection, you've got rapport built with them, then they're far less likely to want to listen to your competition. So that would be the number one thing I would say to entrepreneurs. And by the way, I was the youngest person in the country to start a collection agency when I was 24 years old.
That's amazing.
So I definitely understand. A thing or two about entrepreneurship.
Wow, very cool. Yeah, because we always want to have some takeaways for our audiences, when we have guests come in and talk about their specialization. So very cool. So Mary, how can our audiences get in touch with you?
Well, they can check our website. It is www.midstatecollections.com. I also have a website for myself. It is maryshores.com.
Make sure you guys follow her on all the social networks. Thank you guys so much for watching.
And I mean all of them.
All of them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you leave your comments below. And as always, have a green day.
Thanks so much for watching. We hope you'll continue to get involved and join us as we help you find success in your entrepreneurial journey. Please follow, like, and share with others who will find this beneficial. We'll see you on the next episode of Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes with Stephen and Jean.